Hello, this is Hazel Jane Tarot and welcome to part 4, the final part of my Oracle Collection video series. So thank you for coming back and thank you for watching. I've got a few decks to show you today that are quite unique from the other Oracle decks that I have. Obviously every Oracle system is its own thing. But there are certain similarities between some, but these are a little bit different from the others that I have. So the Celtic Tree Oracle is one that I got in a little shop in County Sligo in Ireland, and it's based on Celtic Ogham script. So there's quite a lot to this package. So it comes with this hardback guidebook. Sorry, this deck is by Liz and Colin Murray, and the illustrations are by Vanessa Card, and it is published by Edison Books. It's a mass market deck. So as I say, I got this in a small shop. So it has this hardback guidebook. It also comes with a little notebook and a spread layout sheet, which I'll show you in a minute. And then these are the cards. So it's quite a big, elaborate box for quite a small deck. Yeah, so then there's all this cardboard inserts and stuff in the box. But anyway, the drawer, the hard box in the drawer with the little ribbon pull is quite nice, and it sits nicely on the bookshelf. So these are the actual cards. If I can come a wee bit closer for you to show you the cards. So as I said, they're very small, more like a poker size card. Those are the backs, which would be nicer if they didn't have that copyright on them, but reversals don't matter with this deck at all. So each card shows a tree, and you have the Ogham script that goes with that tree, and you have the name of the tree in Irish and the name of the tree in English at the bottom. There are a few decks that follow this system, that have the Ogham script and the trees depicted, and I looked at a few, and then and this was the one that I had wanted. So I'm trying to find. That's not coming up for me. There it is, right on the top. Hazel, obviously Hazel Jane Tarot. So there are a couple of things that I like in this. Obviously the Ogham is shown at the side, and then there's symbolism at the bottom underneath the picture of the tree, which helps to tie in with the meaning of that particular Ogham. And then having the word in Irish as well is nice. So when you look each of these cards up in the little guidebook, it tells you. So as you can see, I've done a bit of made a few notes on this book. So it tells you a little bit of history around the meaning of the Ogham or the tree, and then a kind of divinatory meaning at the end. And I had just gone through and from my own understanding, assigned them to different tarot cards, because it helped me a little bit to understand the meaning of that particular Ogham. So it's quite a complicated system that they are suggesting in terms of the reading. So they give you this reading sheet. So they are suggesting a spread that includes all of those cards. So 15 cards in the spread. And so that's a blank layout for you to work through. And then as a little cheat sheet to the meanings, the keywords associated with each of the trees. That's actually quite handy. And then there's a notebook for you to record each of the readings that you do. I have tried that full reading style once. It was very complex. I mean, there's model readings in the guidebook, and there's issues to do with, you know, which cards connect to which positions, and it is quite complicated. I've actually found this deck nicer to work with just as a one card pull as a supplement to a broader tarot reading or something like that. The full reading, especially as the cards, the Oghams all have quite a big meaning. You know, they're, as I've assigned them to major arcana, mostly associations, so they are quite big in terms of their meaning. So trying to read 15 of them at once felt quite complicated, and maybe one card draws feel like they suit that deck a little bit better for me, but it's definitely worth playing with and having a look at. This is my only Lenormand deck, so I've just included it in here with the Oracle decks, and it is small, like Lenormand decks tend to be. So this is the Under the Roses Lenormand, and it's a really pretty little deck. Those are the backs. I would quite like to get the Celtic Lenormand, but it's the same artist as the Druidcraft Tarot, but this is the one that I have at the minute. So just a little index card and the little book that came with it. One of the nice features of this deck is that it does give you alternate choices for the gentleman and the lady and the child. So you know, so you can choose which ones you want to work with. So for example, you could choose to have two gentlemen in the deck for yourself and your significant other, or you can choose for the person that you're reading for or whatever. So but those are the ones that I keep in the deck, and I keep those just for if I needed them, maybe to read for somebody else. But some of the names are slightly different from a classic Lenormand as far as I know, but the meanings are pretty similar. So one of the nice things with this Under the Roses Lenormand is you can see the keywords there in the background. So harmony, elder, the words sort of for lilies there just kind of etched into the background there very lightly. So it's not super obvious, but it is a little prompt. Stork, so newness, pregnancy, beginning, change. So those prompts are quite useful. So the journal, I think, is instead of the book. These have a nice kind of little gothic but comic booky sort of feel to them. So it's a nice Lenormand deck to read with. I'm not particularly skilled with Lenormand yet. I did do a course in the Tarot Summer School last year on Lenormand, and the resources that came with that were really great, and I did get kind of made a start with using Lenormand then, but I haven't been doing it often enough to keep it fresh, so I'm going to have to go back over my my course materials to get it back in my head. But that's the Under the Roses Lenormand, and if you're thinking about a Lenormand deck, it's a mass market one from US Games. So it's oh, and there's the creators, sorry. Kendra Herto and Katrina Hill. So it's a lovely Lenormand deck if you're thinking of getting one to give it a go. Another kind of standalone deck that I have, and this does not have a box. These are the Chinese Oracle Script Divination cards by Benebell Wen. These were created by Benebell and sort of released on her website for free for her for people to use to create. So you can either print them off and create your own, which she really advocated doing, or you can get a set printed from like Make Playing Cards print on demand type service that she has the links all set up, and you can get the guidebook printed through print on demand service as well. So yes, it would be lovely to make your own, but I'm lazy, so so I got them made. But I was very very curious about them, and again, these have quite big meanings to me, so maybe suited to a one card draw for me. But you can see the design is really gorgeous, and on each card you have the oracle script and then the keywords associated with it. And as usual with Benebell Wen, I mean, it's an incredibly detailed little guidebook. So she takes you through what's on each card, some spreads you can try, and then sort of a longer developmental I'm reading the word there, a longer description and divinatory meaning for each of the oracle scripts that she's used. And it is a reversible back because you work with this deck in reversals, so it's the yin and yang aspects of that particular energy. So these are lovely cards and nice to work with, and have made a good sort of single card supplement to readings, but of course you can work with them on their own as well. I just need to get a little bag to keep that deck together. And another kind of fairly unique oracle system that I have is the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tony Hartman. Now I know there has been a Chakra Wisdom tarot deck brought out by Tony Hartman quite recently. I don't have it. The art didn't really appeal to me, but this is a completely different thing from what I can see, and this is a really interesting deck. There is a large workbook that goes with this, which I also have, and it's a very intense workbook. I have only worked through the first couple of cards in it, and it starts working through some of the cards associated with the base chakra, so the exercises and stuff were really quite intense. So if you're looking for a really rigorous system to work with, if you got this deck and the workbook that goes with it, there really is a lot of personal development, quite intense personal development work that you can do with it, which is maybe surprising when you see the sort of visual style of the deck. So you have this really cute background, or really cute back, so you can see a sort of little hermit figure on a journey with all the crystals and the colors associated with the chakras. The cards themselves are drawn by Tori Hartman. She describes in her book that she had they're not drawn by Tori Hartman. That's completely wrong. My mistake. They're they're illustrated by Gretchen Reich Baskin. Sorry, I thought they were her own drawings, but they're not. So Tori Hartman describes in the book that she had like a near-death experience, and then was visited by, I think, angelic beings who told her fables over a number of years. So that sort of is all described in the introduction, and then each of the cards here have a fable or she calls it a legend that goes with it. So if you see, for example, here, soulmate, the card, and she sort of gives into a little bit in about the story, and some prompts for you to work with that card. So inspiration, personal inquiry, key ideas, keywords, and a meditation. This book, this shorter book, doesn't give you the full fable that goes with each card. It sort of just summarizes the essential details, but the workbook that comes with it, you can buy separately from it, that accompanies it, is it does go into the stories behind each image, and they're a little surprising actually. You know, when you look at that image, it's not immediately obvious what the narrative behind these characters are. And obviously you can use what's there in the image and your intuition and the keyword to sort of read from it. You can use the guidance that's here in the book to read from it. But what you get from working with the workbook and reading the full fables is a lot of a deeper understanding of what she's getting at. So this is a really interesting deck. I've worked with this deck alongside the workbook, and I've also worked with it for one card draws. I think I used it for a full month alongside a tarot deck, and found that the cards were often very apt to what was happening that day. The chakra associations for that day were important, and sometimes, you know, what I gathered from the image and the keywords might have been slightly different from what was in the workbook, but I often got quite a lot from both. So this is really nice and surprisingly, and I say surprisingly because the artwork is quite cutesy and gentle looking. This is a surprisingly hard-hitting and, you know, kind of thorough deck. So it's definitely one that I would recommend to people. So that's the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman and Gretchen Reich Baskin, and it's published by Watkins. So it's a mass market deck and easy to get. And my very last Oracle deck that I'm going to share with you is the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck by Kim Kranz. And this was given to me as a Christmas present. And it was funny because I actually gave it to someone else as a Christmas present as well. It's another one of those decks that comes in a very elaborate box. It's really maybe more box than you need. But it is certainly a very nice package. So it comes in this magnetic closure square box. Then you've got quite a substantial guidebook. And then the ribbon lets you take out another box. So it's got that box within a box that the Amenti Oracle has as well. And then it comes in this little round box. And I think, again, for handiness, I would probably just keep it on the shelf in this box along with the book. A lot of people have commented on these backs. They're kind of an oddly blurred close-up of the facets of a diamond or something. They're not my favorite backs. But I really like the round cards. This is the only round deck that I have, and it is a really interesting oracle system. So the archetypes in this deck are divided up into archetypes of self, archetypes of place, tools, and initiations. And so they are all numbered, although you have to be able to translate Roman numerals, obviously, to find them in the index. But so there's an index at the start as well to help you find the page number associated with the particular card. So you have your personal archetypes like the healer, then you have tools like the medallion, the nectar, the mother. And this art isn't art that I would immediately jump at and say it was my favorite style, but it is very evocative when you're doing a reading. And they look really nice laid out, and if you're using a spread with more than one. Obviously Kim Kranz has created the Wild Unknown tarot deck, and I believe there's an animal oracle deck as well. I have not been attracted to getting any of Kim Kranz's other decks. The Wild Unknown, as a sort of predominantly animal nature-based deck, isn't really my style of tarot, really. As if you've looked at any of my tarot deck collection videos, I'm very much into sort of figurative art with people in it and bright and colourful and so on, and this isn't so much that style, but somehow for an oracle deck it is evocative enough to really lead to some interesting musings. Again, quite an intense deck I found when in the readings that I've done with it. The information that you've got in the guidebook is really nice, and it really, she does encourage you to use this deck as a jumping off point to really investigate the archetype that you've drawn in your own culture, in other cultures, to just really investigate what that archetype means for you. I really like the way this book is designed, with the little bits of information at the top and the bottom and on the sides, and as well as the write-up that's given to each card. I think Kim Krans has written a really good book here, and there's a lot of really powerful, meaty material to take away from it. So the other thing, of course, with this being a round deck, you can work with the rotation of the card in a draw. So whether it's upright or reversed, or sort of the energy coming in or going out, you can use sort of the phases of the moon to think about the rotations of the cards, which is a nice aspect to this that I really would like to get into, because I enjoy working with reversals in some tarot decks, not all of the decks that I have, but I do like working with reversals in tarot. So when a deck's designed, to be used in that way, I like to have a look at it. So I think the round cards are really interesting in that regard. So if as I say, these are all their own kind of quite unique systems. They're not, to me, these decks aren't as straightforward. The ones I've shown you today, they're not as straightforward as, just pull a card and look at it and take the message away and you're done. It's, you kind of need to learn the system that they are putting forward, whether it's learning the Ogham, learning the Lenormand. There's something more to each of these systems, which I like. I like to study the decks that I've got and get into depth with them and understand how to use them. So but if you have worked with any of these decks, if you have any tips, because obviously I'm still getting used to working with these decks. I know 22 I think it is oracle decks that I've shown in total. Isn't that many when you think about people have hundreds and hundreds in their collections, but for me, I'm trying not to acquire too many more this year, because I really want to get into and use the ones that I've got. So if you've used these decks, if you've enjoyed them, if you've got any tips for working with them, I would welcome hearing about them in the comments below. So thanks very much for watching, and if you hit the subscribe button, I've now completed my deck collection, so I've got my thinking cap on about what I'm going to offer up on my channel next. So if you hit the subscribe button, you'll get to see what that is. Thanks. Bye bye.